I found out if you produce any kind of warmth, it reduces the energy you take out from the pyramid. So you can roll it really hard with insulation tape so that the coil itself cannot move on the tube. So that's now the point we stay here. What's coming next? The next piece, you know, we have to keep it every time slowly. Don't shock it, don't steer it. The next step is we have to put the copper tube inside of this piece. For this we use the end piece, and we will drill a hole with 10 millimeters to put in this through. Well, and finally we make our condensator. It's very important to get some clean and reduced stuff outside the pyramid. For this we keep a piece of plastic. It's a plastic wheel, you can see it. And in this plastic wheel I got approximately 11 meters of copper wire. You know, my special copper wire, 1.5 millimeters. Well, we have the first wound with approximately 11 meters. On the end we keep a little bit free because we have to cut a little bit to synchronize the capacitor. And if we made the first coil, we make the second coil. I will make it in another color that you can see the difference. It's very important not to keep any metal for the capacitor, and it's also very important to give both sides the same length. You can make it 10 meters, of course. It's not necessary to count the windings. It's only necessary to count the meters. And the both coils should have approximately plus minus 10 centimeters the same length. For this we let a little bit free to cut if it's not synchronized. Okay, happy winding. Okay, another 2 minutes and 2 bloody fingers later, we had the cap, we drilled the 10 millimeters hole, and now we are able to insert this completely to the point where it's inside. And I told you, be careful, not shake, not steer. And now we can insert this one. So now in this moment you have plenty of ideas what you can do to fix this piece here on site and to fix this. I will do the best I can. I will glue it with my loved 2-component epoxy. Then on the end everything should look like this. I hope you can see it. Here you have one output from the inner coil, output from the inner coil, and here you have the output from the outer coil. And please note that we saved 1/2 turn. Maybe you see it. Oh, where can I put it to the camera that you see it? Okay, here. Input is here, output is on the other side. So we saved a half winding. So we don't have, in reality, we don't have 97, we have 96.5. Well, on the other side, it would be a very good idea to have the same cap like here, but I don't have such a cap and I cannot organize it in the next days, so I will keep this open. It's not absolutely 100% necessary that the inner coil is 100% in the center. I don't know why, but it does not affect very much. If your quartz sand inside is not hard inside, you can repair a damaged inner coil if you give it a short time another high voltage, for example with the CB. But it will not work every time. So if you have the problem that the inner coil, the reactor, is falling down, or you have a great smack on it, it's the best idea to open it, to refill it with quartz and a high voltage and make the same again. So if you look here inside, okay, here's the camera. If you look here inside, you see the downer side of our reactor and the outside coil. What we do now is we make something hopefully working to get this nearby in the center. As I told you, if you have two such caps, it would be the better idea. But today we have Saturday and I will not get this kind of cap today. So we have to make something else. The next step is to make the condensator, and the last step is the most important step for you, I hope so, would be the connection of all the wires, and for this I have a special system. You cannot make anything fails. Okay, meanwhile I had a very good idea, stupid but working. I have some small T pieces from copper and they will fit perfectly to my 10mm tube, and because of this we will install there inside this piece. This will hold everything in the center. So we put this inside. Okay, so we can see it. It's not a professional idea, but as you see, it will hold the coil absolutely in the center. Well, we will fix this with my best friend, you know, the two-component glue. Well, it doesn't look so ugly. Well, the next little bit tricky action would be to find the center inside the pyramid. It's a very easy thing. Maybe this is not 100% mathematic what I will show you now, but it's a fact. You have to keep from all the sides the half. And then you have to keep an right angle. You mark the angle. And on the point where all the lines are meeting, here we have the real center of your pyramid. If you drill a hole here and you've got another angle, you will get inside some lines. And where the lines are meeting inside, there is the burning point, the center point of your pyramid. So you see, the problem with my construction with 60 degrees is the burning point is very low. So if you will make the same thing on the chaos pyramid, you will see the meeting point, the center point of all the points is the king's chamber. Well, and finally we make our condensator. It's very important to get some clean and reduced stuff outside the pyramid. For this we keep a piece of plastic. It's a plastic wheel, you can see it. And in this plastic wheel I got approximately 11 meters of copper wire. You know, my special copper wire, 1.5 millimeters. Well, we have the first wound with approximately 11 meters. On the end we keep a little bit free because we have to cut a little bit to synchronize the capacitor. And if we made the first coil, we make the second coil. I will make it in another color that you can see the difference. It's very important not to keep any metal for the capacitor, And it's also very important to give both sides the same length. You can make it 10 meters, of course. It's not necessary to count the windings. It's only necessary to count the meters. And the both coils should have approximately plus minus 10 centimeters the same length. For this, we let a little bit free to cut if it's not synchronized. Okay, happy winding. As you can see here, the coil, the capacitor is ready. I have 10 meter and 85 centimeters on both sides, the inner coil and the outer coil. Please notice, the outer coil is definitely a little bit shorter, optically shorter than the inner coil, because we have outside a greater diameter, and in this case the piece is earlier at the end. So I started good 3 or 4 millimeters in front, because I knew this effect, and it doesn't matter that here is a little bit of the inner coil opened. It's very important to let these two contacts absolutely open. So we can cut a few millimeters, or we can weld a few millimeters on for the capacitor to synchronize. But this is a job we will do absolutely on the end. So maybe you can remember I had some copper plates for a capacitor in V.6, and now I make it a little bit more energizing, and it's a very interesting effect. If you keep some plates to as capacitor, you don't get this clean DC voltage, but if you keep some coil, you get a very proper and a very strong DC voltage. Of course, we can try this capacitor if he's working, and I will make a few experiments with this capacitor, because I have to make a few measurements if he's okay, physically okay, and then we go to the next step to assemble all things together and produce a little bit electricity. Hello and welcome back into my shack, in my mess. Welcome to the second part of TPP. And the first part, we did use more time than we wanted to use. The first part was 1 hour and 42 minutes and 20 seconds uncutted, and I decided to give the whole video for free, because to cut everything would destroy my try to explain everything. So if you got the first part of my video, please control the length of the video. It should be 1 hour, 42 minutes and a few seconds. If it's smaller than I told you now, it's a cutted version, it's not a legal version from my hands, and I prohibited it to cut my video in any kind. The second problem with the first video, I have to say true, I decided not to spread it via YouTube. That's a very easy thing, because I had a great problem on YouTube to cut the video myself into small pieces, and 1 hour and 40 minutes cut it in 12 or 10 or 15-minute pieces. It would be a great amount of work, and I decided to make a streaming video in all 2 parts, and we will find enough servers who want to spread these videos in the next time. So if you see this video, you found some website where it is downloadable, so it's not a problem. I start to spread the videos on my own webpage, but I'm sure I will find some other people who want to spread the video too. But please remember, it's absolutely prohibited to broadcast this video on every pay site. So everything is free, nobody is allowed to keep any donation for anything. Don't